Hello and welcome to our orcharhino 6.11 tech update video. Let us show you the latest changes and newest features in orcharhino. First of all, orcharhino now is SCA only. You will remember that in orcharhino 6.8, simple content access, short SCA, has been introduced in order to facilitate the assignment of repositories to your client servers. Before that, an intermediate layer called subscriptions was necessary to enable the repositories on the client servers. This legacy content access has been removed now, and simple content access has become mandatory. Next, we would like to introduce the so-called host registration template. Some of you might already know it from Tech Preview. Now it is becoming officially productive and is going to replace the Bootstrap script. The general idea behind the host registration template is to attach servers which have not been deployed using orcharhino, but orcharhino now is meant to provide repositories and packages. So there are two typical use cases for that. Use case number one, a server already existed before orcharhino. Use case number two, servers are not being deployed by orcharhino, but by an external pipeline. In both cases, orcharhino is meant to provide packages and repositories. But let's actually have a look on our demo system to see how the workflow looks like. So now we are on our demo orcharhino, and we want to attach, for example, an Ubuntu 24.04. So we go here on our All Hosts page and click on the button Register Host. We wait a few seconds to see that the first few values are rendered. So organization location are set now. We select the host group accordingly. So now we look for Ubuntu 24.04. Wait a few more seconds for values inside the host groups to be applied. So now we see OS has been set. We select the correct proxy. In our case, we want to attach it to orcharhino directly. We can select the download utility for the client server, either curl or wget. Since this is an Ubuntu server, I will select wget. The activation key has been extracted from the host group. In order to attach the system, the subscription manager needs to be installed. As Ubuntu does not provide the subscription manager, we do that by providing an orcharhino client repository. And here actually we tell the server to make use of it. So we click here on repositories and we add first the path to the client repository. And secondly, since this is an Ubuntu system or a Debian-based system, we also need to provide the key which was used to sign the repository, which would be the so-called pulp-deb signing key. We confirm that. When everything is set, we can define a token lifetime right here. And once everything is done, we just click here on generate, and we get here now a wget or a curl command, depending on what we select. And this command we execute on the client server. This command will actually install the subscription manager, will subscribe the host to orcharhino, and assign it to all the repositories and also the host group. In addition, we made further improvements with respect to our Debian Ubuntu support. First, regarding performance, content creation, and initial synchronization for Debian Ubuntu repositories and publishing content views now is up to 30% faster. The second improvement concerns the export-import scenario. A typical use case for that is having an air-gapped orcharhino. This means you have an orcharhino which cannot connect to internet and requires a first orcharhino with internet access, providing the content. This means repositories and content views. So now on this online orcharhino, you can export the content, creating a tarball, which somehow needs to be transferred to your air-gapped orcharhino, and here all the content can be re-imported. Now the scenario also includes Debian and Ubuntu errata, which makes the import-export scenario now finally feature complete. Another feature, which has been in Tech Preview 4 and now has become ready for production, is structured apt for Debian and Ubuntu repositories. Before structured apt, orcharhino provided all Debian and Ubuntu-based repositories using release default and component all. With structured apt, orcharhino now maps all repositories in the same way as they are provided by upstream. So for Ubuntu 24.04, releasing component now no longer are default all, but for example, Noble main, Noble security main, Noble updates main, or also Noble universe. This makes it possible on client side to derive from which component a package actually has been provided. But let's actually see how it looks like in orcharhino right now. So I want to show you some content views on our proxy so you can see how well everything is migrated also for previously existing content. So we want to have a look on Ubuntu 24. So I will just select the last composite content you can see right here. I click on custom, we get inside, take the subcontent Ubuntu 24, and inside that we can see repositories. We can see we have here three kind of repositories. Let's have a look on Noble main restricted, the last one. Actually, if we click now here in dists, we can see here that the release which has been used is Noble and is no longer default as it used to be before. And if I click here on Noble, we also see the components main and restricted. Further, with respect of compute resources, orcharhino now supports all versions of Proxmox 8.2. Another enhancement we added to the orcharhino UI in order to improve the user experience is a possibility to filter for enabled and disabled repositories in activation keys. But let's actually see ourselves how the filters and activation keys look like now. So we are back on our demo orcharhino. I select the activation keys right here. We see here all the activation keys. Just select the second one, the generic Alma key. Go here to repository sets. We can see here now all repositories inside the environment, and they are all enabled and overridden. Here we see the status set to all. We can select between all enabled, disabled, and overridden. So let's actually reset the salt stack repositories to default, which will actually disable them. Now we can see here all repositories are enabled and overridden, just salt stack is disabled and default. If I look now for enabled, we will see everything but salt stack. If I look for disabled, we will see the two repositories which are just disabled. And if I select overridden, we will again see only the ones which have been overridden. So everything works fine. So let's just reset the key to repair it again, switch it back to enabled, and selecting now here for overridden, we still see everything. And last but not least, we now fully support network-based installations of Windows hosts using UEFI. But let's actually deploy a Windows host with UEFI on orcharhino. So we are back on our demo server on the all host page. I now just click here, create host, select the name. We'll just call it Tech Preview W11. Select the appropriate host group. So let's have a look for Windows 11 UEFI. Everything will be now pre-filled out. If I go here to virtual machine, you can see that EFI has been selected, and here the PXE loader is iPXE chain UEFI. Now I click on submit, and the host is being built on our vSphere. So let's actually have a look on the host, how it's being built. So I click here on the three dots, select the console, and now click on Launch Console. So now we see our host starting in the vSphere, getting its configuration, downloading the first templates. Everything looks fine. Downloading the PCP setup. Let's check a few more seconds to be sure. Looks perfect by now. Splendid. So I hope you enjoyed all the wonderful new features of Orcharhino and hope to see you the next time again. Have a nice day and bye.